Hi everybody, I'm Beth with West Coast Wool, and today's video is all about our new Block of the Month program that's just starting, and it's Imperial Blooms by Sue Spargo. We're going to take a little bit of a different approach with this project and change the colors a little bit and change some of the stitches. So some of you might not be on social media, and I wanted to do some videos for you so that you can get some extra help, get some questions answered, and I will run through each month what fabrics are being used in the project. So let's get started and let's take a look at the first block. A couple of things before you get started. I have my book here, and you'll notice that I have a spiral binding on it. I took my book to the printer and I asked them to put the binding on for me. Whenever I'm doing a project, especially if it's a big quilt and I've got a lot of tracing, I like to have my book spiral bound. So what they do is they cut the edge off, they bind it for you. It costs about $5. I do recommend you doing this. I view my books as a workbook, and I'm going to be referencing the book many times, so I like to have it bound. And then you can just open it up and it'll be nice and flat. You can make your notes, you can easily trace. So you might want to do that. In your kit, you will have a set of instructions from me. These are supplemental instructions to the project. I've added some things, I've taken away some things that I've done for the blocks. You can follow along in the book if you like, or you can follow along with these instructions. These are just my way of approaching the project and giving you additional information, what threads I used, but we're going to kind of run through that. So have a look at that before you get started, and then decide how you want to approach the project. So in the back, you'll have a picture of my block, and also you'll have instructions on what stitches and threads that I used. So here's block 1. These are all the pieces that you're going to be using for this particular block, and I just want to run through a few things. Your background piece is about 12 by 12 inches. The pattern calls to cut it down to 10.5 inches. I always cut my blocks down the exact measurement to the project. Some people like to have it a little bit bigger and then cut it down after you do all the applique. I never really do that, but you have the option with this. So you're going to get your background piece. You're also going to get a fat eighth of your green. So I decided to give you the entire piece for the project, and I felt like instead of me giving you a bunch of little green pieces for 9 months, I think it's better just to have the green because you're going to use this in every block. So you're going to get a big piece. You want to be conservative, and you can see here where I have really put those pieces close together. I've done the measurements. All of these pieces for the project should fit on this green. So you're going to get that. You're also going to have this blue for your flower. You will also get a couple of layering pieces, and you're going to cut those down according to the instructions. These are my instructions. You will have a piece of orange. You've got these pieces here. You're going to get a layering cotton. I do starch method applique, so I reverse my pattern, which you really don't need to do here. I press it onto the back, I cut it out 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to applique it on. So you'll have this piece. You're also going to get a little piece of ribbon, some velvet. You'll get a little piece of velvet for your seed pod, and a piece of fusible, and I talk about how to use this in your instruction sheet that I gave you. You're going to get a little bag of Toho beads, and also you're going to have some Petite Very velvet. If you haven't used this yet, it's so much fun, so easy to use, and it stitches like butter through your wool. So that will be everything in this month's kit. And let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do next. So here is block 1, and I'm going to pick it up so you can get a good close-up picture of what we're going to be stitching, and you can kind of see some of the stitches. So we're going to start up here in the corner. I've done some French knots on the layering cotton, and I want you to get a good view because there's no really good color pictures in Sue's book. So I want you to kind of see what we're going to be doing this month and try to get a good view of the details. I'm hoping you can see this okay. So a couple of little things to keep in mind when you are stitching this block. We're going to be using the Petite Very Velvet on this leaf here. You've got your beads here. You've got a lot of little circles right here going around. So what I recommend is either using your hole punch if you have those, or you can use those little handy paper punch things from Fiskars. They're not the best, but they will do the job, so you're not trying to freehand these little tiny circles. So if you have something like this and you don't have the hole punches, go ahead and use this. And one thing to keep in mind, and I put this on your instruction sheet, when you're cutting these out, you might have to just snip 1 or 2 threads to release it from the wool. When you're stitching them down, it's really important to have a light hand, and you only need like 4 stitches to stitch these little circles in place. So just do 4 little stitches, tack it down with a light hand, and you'll be good to go. The other thing I've done here is a trellis stitch, and I'll give you a close-up look. I've only done 1, and it is relatively small. It'll be easy for you to do. And what else have I done here? I've done the little ribbon with some back stitching. If you have any questions about this month's block, send me an email and hopefully I can answer those for you. Also, I've created a Facebook group for our block of the month. It is in the instructions, and I encourage you to share this on social media, Instagram. The main reason, like I said, I'm doing this is because I want those people that might not be on social media to have a place to go to get help and see pictures of what the blocks are going to look like, since they're pretty different from Sue's. So I hope you enjoy this month's stitching, and I will see you next month.